Hello, my name is Sayed Murtaza Naqvi and my student number is 2253457441. For the D1 task, I was to work on a YouTube data analysis project using a YouTube API focused on the 2024 US elections. I collected video and comment data from major news channels like CNN, Fox News, BBC, ABC News, and more. The goal was to clean and prepare this data, analyze the viewership patterns, engagement trends, and content frequency by each channel. Moving on to data cleaning and data preparation. I firstly copied my settings from section B to here, which hosted both my keywords of what my API will search, my program will search, the channel IDs it will search through, and the max amount of videos it can search. Following this, I imported multiple libraries such as Seaborn or Pandas so I could use them later on in my analysis. Moving on to D1. D1, I loaded my clean datasets from beforehand. Here, I read them, and then to clean these datasets, I searched for any missing values or NaN, and if I were to find any, I would have dropped them using the drop NA function. And it would be here when I first searched it up, but after I used the drop NA function, I then printed the first 5 rows of each of them, each datasets, and then it should just only showcase the video ID and no missing values. D2 was a sample code for data preparation, and I firstly loaded each video and comment data frames from the respective CSV files, and then the rest of the code was either converting or creating new columns. In the end, I prepared data frames that could be used for later analysis and merge videos and comments and further merge them later on. Moving on to my first analysis. Now this analysis is me trying to find the distribution of views, likes, and comments for each channel, for each video, for its respective keywords. Now the first line of code is me reading the video CSV file using the pd.read_CSV function into a data frame. Then I make a list of columns and titles to define 3 columns that I want to analyze, which is view count, like count, comment count, and 3 titles, which will be distribution of views, likes, and comments, which will be shown on the plot. Then I create a single figure with 3 subplots in one row, 1 by 3, and each subplot will display a histogram for one of its metrics. I will also give the full figure a title to explain what it's showing. Then inside the loop here, I go through each metric, clean the data using the drop NA function after it's called to remove any missing values, and then use the SNS histoplot to create a histogram. And then I enable the KDE, which is the line shown here, which is the kernel density function, which gives a smooth curve to the data, to the graph, to better show the shape and of the data distribution. Then this code down here is the formatting and titles. Each subplot is labeled with the title and axis label. I also formatted the x-axis to show only plain numbers. This avoids any scientific notation shown here, which can make large numbers harder to read. And finally, I use the plt.tie_layout function to make sure the subplots don't overlap. As before, they were just going into each other. And I use the plt show function to display everything. Here we have the output of our data, and these below will be the observations. So using the dataset, I first observed that the distribution of views amongst all videos is very positively skewed. However, with most videos receiving under 1.1 million views, with a few outliers reaching up to 17.5 million views. This suggests a small number of videos gained a viral number of attention. Observation 2 is that both likes and comments follow a similar positively skewed pattern, with most videos having under 10,000 likes and fewer than 2,000 comments. However, a few also reach over 300,000 likes and 30,000 comments, indicating strong engagement for select videos and topics. Let's move on to my second analysis, which is how I visualize the total number of likes, views, and comments by channel, shown here. Now, in my code, the first line of code gives us the total number of views, likes, and comments for each channel, and then I created a layout on the second line of code with 3 subplots to display each metric side by side with the size of 18 by 16. Third line of code just displays a title at the very top for as a general statement for the whole visualization, with the font size being 16 and it being bold. Now the next line of code displays this is all the same, with the numbers identifying which metric it will be. So 0 being view count, 1 being like count, and 2 being comment count. The first code just displays a bar chart. The second line of code creates a title for the graph. The third line of code creates the X label, named a channel, and the fourth line creates a Y label for the Y-axis, names the total views. The fifth line just rotates the X-axis by 45 degrees to make it more readable for the viewer. Now all these codes are the same, it just depends on the number being shown. Now the plt.tie_layout function just adjusts the spacing between each graph to make it more readable, and the plt show function just displays the whole visualization. Now let's discuss my observations. Now for observation 1, Fox News recorded the highest amount of views at approximately 23 million, which also led in likes with about 390,000, which suggests it reached the strongest audience during the 2024 election period. Now CNN and MSNBC reached about 5.5 million views, but CNN took the cake in likes with about 65,000. However, MSNBC received about 75,000 comments, which is more than CNN, which wasn't that far behind. Observation 3 was that ABC News performed the weakest across all the metrics, averaging only about 1 million views, under 1 million views, 5,000 likes, and fewer than 2,000 comments, which suggests a limited audience engagement or video output. Let's move on to my third analysis, which consists of me trying to find the average number of videos published per week by channel. This is done through my code, which is shown as in the first. I loaded the data from the video CSV file using the pd.read_CSV function, and then I converted the publish at column into a datetime format using pd.to_datetime function. Then I created a new column called week by extracting the week period from the publish at column and using this function here to store into W. Then I used the group by function to count the number of videos per week per channel, which I then stored into weekly counts here. After that, I calculated the average number of videos published per week using the group by channel title and the count of each video, which is then with the mean function that calculates the average. Following this, I use this code here to visualize the information with a bar chart on a 12 by 12 by 6, and then I sorted the average number of weekly videos by descending order. I plotted the title and the height, and then it shows on each bar the average number of videos they publish per week. I customized the plot with specific X and Y labels here, and rotate the X-axis by 90 degrees for better readability. Now discussing more observations for the dataset. My first observation was that MSNBC published the most content, averaging about 5 videos per week. Now that suggests a more aggressive upload strategy during the election period. Secondly, my second observation was that Fox News and Guardian both average about 3 videos per week, which supports the relatively high view counts and other metrics, and CNN followed closely about 2.7 videos per week. My third observation was that Sky News, BBC News, and ABC News published less frequently, averaging about 2, 1.5 and 1 videos per week respectively. Now this indicates a slower publishing pace to gain a more selective approach to the election coverage, trying to gain a higher view and like count on a specific video. Now this would align with ABC's news very low engagement metrics. Now I get 2 errors in my code. At first I tried using this code, original code given, but it gave an error because the path is outdated. So I fixed it by importing the correct path, which is called pandas.error, and then removed the warning from showing by using the warnings.filter warnings to ignore. This stopped the warning without affecting the code. Secondly, the next error that I faced was that after a few runs of my code each time, I kept hitting my YouTube API quota limit, and it started showing 33% errors of usage for some reason. I tried getting new API keys, but they didn't solve my issue. Eventually, I switched devices and moved to my computer and created a fresh API key there, which finally worked and let me continue my data collection and programming.